In this hall of madness, I live stream and create custom lights every day. And if I want to control those lights, I would like to use something simple, like this little remote control and this little control unit. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to wire it up. Hey, I'm Chris, you are at FlyRyde. Welcome back if you're an existing subscriber, and if not, and you're new, welcome. Check it out. I live stream and make cool lights here, and I tell you exactly how I do it. Now, a buddy of mine, Mike, recently told me there was a better remote control setup that I could get that was about half the cost of the one I've been using, and it has 2 remote controls, which is super dope. So we live streamed all about it, and this is the highlights of that video. So we're gonna open up this remote control package. This is just something that I bought off Amazon. It comes with 2 remotes instead of 1, and it costs half the price. Can't really be mad at that, right? So the one thing I don't like necessarily about these things is that if you're just starting from scratch, kind of don't have too much info about like what this thing is. So I'm gonna open it up, and it actually comes with a little bag of screws so that you can screw the circuit board to that little base plate. Here is our little circuit board, and we've got 4 relays. There's 3 connections per relay. One of them is for the power wire to come in. One of them is normally closed, so nothing happens when you connect something up to that until you push the button. And then one of them is normally open. We are gonna run a power and ground wire into the little circuit board here. We're gonna loop power wires to each of the 4 relays. So that's it. We're gonna work on that right now. Should be somewhat interesting. I hope it helps. I know that if I had watched this video before I even did the first one, probably would have made my life easier. Here are the cool little remote controls before we get going. That is dope. I dig it. So here's the module, and there's a little button right here for learning at the very end of all these little rows of connections. One of them says ground, the next one says 12 volts, and then after that, it just has numbers for everything. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we've got 7 through 12 there in the bottom. And then the instructions are very basic. They say if I want to hook up DC lamp wiring, the power wire is gonna go to the voltage in at the very beginning, and then it's going to go to 2, it's going to go to 5, 8, and to 11. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of wire, connect it to all of those outputs, right? Like the things that I want to get power as soon as I push the button, and I'm going to route that out the bottom so that it comes out this little notch. And then from there, I'll basically have my own little contained unit that has 6 wires total, power, ground, and then the 4 outputs for, I don't have 6 fingers, so I couldn't do that. And then I can hook it up to whatever. I'm gonna take this wire that I've stripped the end of it, and I'm going to just solder a little bit so that it doesn't want to just slip right out once I tighten that little wire connection down. Do that. We're gonna stick it into pin 11 like it told me to do. So this is where I don't enjoy making the next step right here. We're gonna do a little loop. So it's going to come out of 11 and needs to go into 8. Now I could just kind of strip and kind of apply some heat so that the shielding shrinks back. But instead I'm going to annoyingly make a loop, cut it, strip it, and solder it back to the other side. This is not my favorite thing to do ever. Don't skimp out on the extra 5 minutes it takes to do something. And the solder seems to like just give somewhat of a soft metal, so that that screw can just go into it, and that thing's never just gonna randomly pop out. During the live stream, I got a great question, which was, if I'm gonna be putting all of these wires into this little box here, why don't I use a special kind of connector just to make it extra secure? And the simple answer for that is we've got a cap. It's gotta go back on, it's gonna cover everything up, and it has to fit. So that's just a little simple tip, and for that and a bunch of other things that you might be picking up from this video, if it's bringing you some value, do me a little favor, just annihilate that like button, as well as consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already, and don't forget to hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss feature uploads and live streams. All right, so we've got all of our stuff looped together so far. The last step is I can have this, I would trim it off altogether, but in this case, it's just gonna join with that RGB CCT wire. And the one that I did yesterday on these WRX lights, that was all done with an XK Chrome unit integrated into it as well. So what we get with that is if I push B, it's gonna turn on my RGB. And if I push A, that's gonna turn on my COP mode. Now I know when I did all of this stuff, I had it hooked up so that the very last output here was what I hooked up that cop mode, and that went to A. This is what I do when it comes to the ribbon wire hooked up inside the sequential lights, is start the farthest one, and then you'll start trimming everything else to length based on keeping the line pretty straight. We can kind of test fit everything. Okay, so that's where we're at. I'm not gonna 100% push it down because I wanna use the little learning button really quick. We're gonna strip our power and ground connection and then test to make sure that this thing is lighting up and making its little clicky noises when it's supposed to. It's basically gonna work in the direction of this. So A is gonna be that yellow wire, B is gonna be white, C is gonna be blue, and D is gonna be this green wire. And so when I hook it up to whatever I want to, I can hook it up based on how I want it to be arranged on the remote. Now, if you did catch that live stream, you will know that I was starting to mess with this little learn button on here, and I was trying to play with the remotes, which led to a lot more research, and it led to a lot of really cool discoveries. So a new video is coming out to answer all the questions about how to program this thing, very specific to what you need it for. If it needs to be momentary, or you just want to push a button and turn things on, we're gonna tell you exactly how to do all of that coming up. I'll see you on the live streams, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the weekends. See ya.